Hi, Nick Collier here, and this is my shop. Come join me. We'll have some fun.
Nick Collier here, and you know, when I started this project, I had a wonderful plan, and I filmed a really great entry into the project, and I cannot find that file, so we're gonna have to do this again. We're working on a jig. This one's for myself, and I've been meaning to do this for, I don't know, a couple of years now at least. And I built a temporary jig very much like this one here, probably about 3 months ago. It was just like throw it together, just see if it works, and it worked. And basically what I want to do is I want to put this curve into a piece of wood. And out of this curve will come a picture frame. Now, I don't know if you've ever bought a picture frame, but for just a pretty small picture frame, we're talking a couple $100, you know, for a nice one. You know, not even a nice one, a reasonable one. And I, you know, if you followed along with any of my other endeavors, you'll notice that I've got a few paintings kind of stacked away in the studio part of my shop here, and at some point or another I'm going to put them out in the world, and you know, in a gallery or something like that, whenever galleries open back up, and I'm going to need some decent frames, and I don't have the money to do a decent frame, so we're going to make some. And I've got tons of cedar and white fir and a bunch of pine and some walnut and some madrone. What else do I have? I have some mahogany. I got a ton of wood up here, and it's just sitting here, and why not use it? But you know, getting this thing to cut a nice clean arch is not an easy endeavor. So I came in, and this is the part that I had planned so well, and I laid out a basic design of what I wanted to do, and I filmed that whole layout, and oh man, it was so cool. But you know, it's gone and whatever. So that's basically what I wanted to do, is to build a frame. And we're going to take a different view here and come down on it and have a look. Now with my test, I realized that I wasn't going to be able to take this whole thing at one time. I mean, I could, but I needed to be able to take it in little pieces. So what I did is, and you're getting the tail end of this thing, and so from now on, we're going to be building this thing. So anyhow, I built an adjuster here so that the cutting head will rotate in and out and come in closer to the wood. Now you can see the wood's going to fit right in there, and it's going to slide through here. And I still have one more part to make, and that is a bearing that's going to sit right on top of here, because the last one that I made, what happened is as I pushed it in here, the thing started jumping up and down and making a mess. So I'm going to need to put a bearing here, and probably one here, and maybe one back here. So you can see what I've done. Now see how I did it. And I'm going to try a new thing here with this project too. I'm not going to talk during the project. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a monologue overlay as I edit the project and see how that works. I don't know. You know, I've seen it done on a couple other YouTubers, and I was like, yeah, I kind of liked it. Now whether it works or not, I don't know. So we're going to try that with this project, and we'll be back. First,
go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section if you like this style where I've overlaid, or even if you don't like it. I might do others like this. It depends on how easy it is for me. So we're working on a piece of 1/4 inch plate here, and I purchased this probably 6-8 months ago, and it was a 4x4 sheet, and I had it cut so I couldn't turn it back in. But I swear this piece of 4x4 sheet 1/4 inch weighed more than I could handle. I literally had to get somebody to help me to get it off the truck and get it into where you see it now, and it has lived there for this whole time. Now I've taken a few little chunks off of it from time to time, but this time I'm going to take a nice little chunk off of it. So hopefully it's going to be lighter, and I might be able to move it around. So we got the torch out. We're going to set up a line and get that torch going. Let's see. Oh, there's the piece of angle iron, and I'm putting it in here, trying to get it lined up, trying to figure out how I'm going to clamp that bottom part because it's sitting on the floor, and at this point I can't pick it up. And I'm noticing that the COVID virus has worn heavily on me. Looks like I've gained some weight. Damn. So I'm thinking I got to go on a diet here pretty quick. I don't like what I'm seeing. And, well, anyhow, it's been all winter and I've worn heavy clothes and haven't really seen myself. So we're getting ready to cut this thing. Gonna fire up the torch. We're probably going to need to let the gas run through the line a bit, of course. I got about 100-foot line, and so it takes a while for the acetylene to get all the way through. There it goes. So, adjust the torch, and let's rip this thing apart. And we're going to get about 3/4 of the way through, and you're not going to see the rest. But know that it cut nicely, and I ended up with a nice little chunk to put over on the pattern torch table. And here we are at the pattern torch table. Cutting off the top edge, and we'll spin it around and cut the side. But you're probably not going to see that because I didn't film it. So we're going to move right over to the angle iron that I'm going to machine. Now this angle is probably about 5/16 a 2-inch angle, and so we're going to come in with the shell mill and square up that one edge, that one surface, so that when the wood actually slides through there, it has a nice, even, smooth surface to slide on. And I think I had to take about, 3 or 4 passes on this because it wasn't square. And you notice that I'm stopping about 3/4 of the way. Well, that's pretty much as far as the travel of my mill would go. I've got a 42-inch table, but in reality, it only cuts about 20-something inches because, of course, it can't stretch out way out there on the edge. So we've come in, we moved it, and now we're checking the squareness of it to the table, and keep tapping it up and down and put a couple of supports in there until the thing works just right. All right, well, that got cut, and now we're cutting the opposite sides out of the same material. As you can see, it's been outside for a number of years, and it's pretty rusty. We'll have to come in later and take a wire brush to it or something. And we got 2 cuts, and that's what we're looking for. Now we want to take a 45 off of that because there's going to be some clearance issues that I was anticipating. All right, that little saw, it cuts, but it takes a while. So here we are squaring up the face of the shorter pieces, the opposing shorter pieces. And now that we've kind of figured out what we need to do, I pretty much took it in, I think, 2 passes. One rough pass and then back for a single final pass. Okay, maybe not. All right, there's the final pass. And do the same thing to the second piece. Trying to get down underneath that scale. And you can see how far angle iron is out. I mean, you know, in most situations, nobody cares. But in this situation, you know, I wanted to have a good square surface to work from. So there we go. I think that's going to do it. Now, I think I know. We're cutting the slots so that the 2 short pieces are solid. They're not moving. And this piece is going to move in and out, making, depending on what width of wood that I'm working with. So I'm hoping that it'll do anywhere from about 1/2 inch to a good 1.5 inches. And I believe that's a 5/16 mil that I'm working with. So just back and forth, and then I went in and did a couple of cleanup cuts. And we're going to put a second notch in here. And back and forth. You know, probably I was too lazy to just put a drill in there and drill it out so I could pierce it. So I just went back and forth. And that works. Although it probably took longer. There we go. We punch through. Take it all the way to the mark. way back. Oops, a little bit more. Okay, now just a couple of cleanup cuts to get those walls nice and square. Down one, both crossed, and back up the other. There we go. Oh, must not have cleaned up. So we'll do it again. Oh, I think I know what I did. Is I didn't lock the Y direction down, and so it wandered a little bit. So I had to open it up. So, but it's no big deal. I'm still within my needs, and it gives me a nice square hole to work from. All right, well now we're going to make the adjuster tabs, and I'm using some 1/2 inch angle that I got from the local steel guy. He's got a scrap bin that he throws stuff in, and every time I go there I look in the scrap bin because there's always some pretty cool stuff that he just tosses away. And these things were arched, and there probably was 20 of them, and I took 10, and this angle is amazing. So in this case, it didn't matter that there was an arch in the metal, because what am I doing? 1-inch pieces. So we're cutting 4 of these, and that's going to give us the bases of my adjusters. Okay, and the last two, I wanted to cut the legs off of these, and there was just not enough place to hold it. So I decided to put a little bridge across there and weld that in so I could put it back in the saw and cut both ends off. Just a little tack weld. And that should do the trick. Well, maybe not. I might not be happy with it. No, in fact, if I remember correctly, I wasn't happy with the weld. So we bust it off again. It's always amazing how a little dinky tack is so strong. All right. Now let's do this again. All right, let's let her cool and then take it over to the saw and saw the feet off of this. Now you can see what I did, because it just wouldn't hang on to it. Flip it around, do the same thing. And we've got some feet. Now the never-ending deburring. Everything has to get deburred, mostly because I don't want to get cut. But if it's for a customer, it's so the customer doesn't get cut. I just wanted to clean up some surfaces, make it look pretty. Then I decided to get fancy and put a bit of a taper on the back side of this leg, just to kind of, I don't know, just give it a little bit of design. I figured, it's going to take 5-10 minutes. Who cares? And of course, it took an hour. Okay, we did several passes just to get it to kind of go down into a nice taper. And I believe this is the last pass. It brings that taper right up to the edge. There it is. Well, I don't know what the hell I was saying, but I was saying something. Okay, we're doing the second one. Probably, maybe even we're doing the fourth one at this point. Oh, that was the second one. This is the third, which has a much shorter leg. And you can see that I use a kind of a protractor to keep that angle consistent. And that's number 4. All right, more deburring. Okay, finally we get it up against the piece of angle that is going to move. And I'm looking at it, and I'm really not liking the fact that everything is a different height and a different thickness and a different width. And so at this point, I'm figuring out where the thing's going to land, and we're going to do a little machine work on that piece of angle itself to get that thing to flatten out. And I had to come in with a long bit and extend it as far as I could extend it safely in order to get it to reach all the way down there. But it did, and it was no problem. Okay, we got the little slots cut. It's now sitting square. These are sitting square up to each other, and it's still kind of off. And I don't like that at all. So I'm going to clamp these together, and I'm going to put them in the mill and see if I can square up those surfaces. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Okay, maybe it didn't look pretty good. So now we come in and tap them in place just to get them to seat properly. All right, now does it look pretty good? That's better. And you can see how, they're kind of not the angles are off. So let's put it in the mill. Let's square up our seat and then come in and what are we doing? Oh yeah, we're going to drill the holes first. Come in with a pilot drill. And that's going to take us to the end of our 30 minutes here. And as you can see, we're going to come back later and finish drilling these holes and tapping them and getting everything complete. Thanks for watching.